The original Street Fighter is largely condemned today. It's understandable why. The gameplay is clunky and slow, controls are incredibly unresponsive, and the damage ratios are totally wild. Just look at this footage. You would never know it, but I am trying really hard to throw a Hadouken, but the game just won't let me. Despite the hatred, I still feel this game deserves some respect. After all, this was the game that eventually led the way to Street Fighter II and the modern fighting game genre as we know it. It also innovated some really cool ideas that would become staples, such as special moves triggered by controller motions, and of course, would introduce the world to iconic characters like Ryu, Ken, and Sagat. So yeah, this game is trash, but it still does deserve some respect for what it would eventually become. And in fairness to the game, I actually really did like it as a kid. I even own the TurboGrafx 16 CD version called Fighting Street, and play it all the time on my 2-button controller. One day, I went to play it and the CD was cracked. My brother blamed it on the cat, but even as a kid I knew that was nonsense. He just got mad and tossed it across the room one day, and that was probably the last time I ever played the original Street Fighter until the filming of this video. That aside, what if I told you that a fan took the time to remake the original Street Fighter into a game that is both playable and fun? And here it is, aptly titled Street Fighter 1. This is a game made in the Mugen engine that completely reworks this original classic. For those of you who do not know, the Mugen engine is a fighting game engine where fans can customize characters and make their own games. I have not really explored this too much, but I'm going to start because as a big fan of fighting games growing up, some of the stuff I've seen on YouTube featuring this is just wild. We'll save those for some future videos. So Street Fighter 1 takes the same graphics and basic storyline of the original and totally redoes it. For starters, you play as more than just Ryu and Ken. The entire cast of the original game is playable here, as well as Cody from Final Fight. Fans of the Capcom universe will recognize this as a clever nod to the origins of that series. Right off the bat, this is super exciting to me. To this day, there are characters from this game that have just been completely forgotten. Like Joe here, generic American and one of the first 2 foes you could potentially fight. He was my first pick, because I really wanted to see what they would do with such an obscure character. This game uses a 4-button control layout rather than the standard 6. It works well enough, and you can chain weak and strong attacks as well as special moves to create combos. The combo system here is relatively simple, but it's fun, and it works well for what this game is trying to do. Every character also gets a super meter that gets charged to level 3 in typical Capcom fashion. I had a lot of fun playing as Joe. His moveset was pretty limited, as developers are more or less restrained to what the original character did. Despite that, they did a nice job giving him some fun combos and creative specials, and before I knew it, I was busting out block strings and 4 or 5 hit combos like a pro. He even had an ending, which I thought was really cool. They kind of gave him a Johnny Cage angle here, which makes sense, and given that the character is more or less dead in the Capcom universe, it seemed to fit. Other characters were equally fun to play. Of course, you know exactly what to expect when you pick Ryu and Ken, although I did enjoy actually being able to pull off the specials in this game, so that's a plus. Eagle is pretty sick. It has moveset from Capcom vs SNK 2, and I did a playthrough with Geki as well. This character is somehow connected to Ibuki. I believe it is either her dad or just her master. He had some really fun moves and a combo string that the computer just fell for every time. I think this is such a fun game. This is not the game that's going to take the crown from fighting games that commercially exist, but it's a great idea to take one of the most infamous but important games of all time and remake it into a game that's fun to play, including getting a chance to play with forgotten characters for the first time, and even spicing the game up with individual endings and new super moves. It is all just so awesome, and you can see the passion the developer has for this series. If you were like me, and you used to play this garbage game in the arcade, but you loved it anyway because it was so much different than everything else out there, you owe yourself to play this game. I will leave the download link in the description, and as usual, it is totally free to play and easy to set up. Check it out, you won't be disappointed.